When my brother introduced me to his new wife, I told myself she was just another addition to our family. Nothing more. But the moment I saw her, I knew she was different. Her beauty wasn't loud or obvious, it was in the little things. The way her smile curled softly, how her eyes lingered on people when they spoke, as if she truly cared. Her laugh was delicate but warm, and when she greeted me for the first time, her hug felt like home. I brushed it off at first. She was my sister-in-law, married to my brother. I had no right to think of her as anything beyond that. But it's hard to control the heart. Whenever she walked into a room, I found myself noticing everything, her perfume, her voice, the way her hair fell around her shoulders. It only got worse when she started paying attention to me. She'd ask about my day, laugh at my silly jokes, and sometimes, when my brother wasn't looking, she'd hold my gaze just a little too long. I told myself it was harmless. Just kindness. Just family. But deep down, I already knew I was lying to myself. Something dangerous had begun, and though I didn't want to admit it, I could already feel myself slipping into feelings I had no business entertaining. Family dinners became something I dreaded and secretly craved at the same time. She would sit across the table, her laughter filling the space, and I would catch myself staring when I thought no one noticed. But sometimes, she noticed. Her eyes would flicker to mine, and in those stolen seconds, the world narrowed to just the two of us. One evening, she brushed past me in the kitchen. My brother had stepped outside to take a call. She reached for a bowl on the shelf, her hand grazing mine by accident, or maybe not. That touch lingered, light but electric, as though it carried a hidden message. I froze, my heart thudding, while she simply smiled and walked away, leaving me shaken. It became a pattern, her hand brushing mine when passing the bread, her foot nudging mine under the table, her lips curving in a smile that felt meant only for me. I told myself it was all in my head, just coincidences, but every look, every touch, every laugh seemed to suggest otherwise. And the more it happened, the harder it was to deny. I started to look forward to those moments, waiting for her eyes to find mine, for her smile to light something inside me. I was falling deeper, silently, hopelessly, into something I knew could destroy everything. It was a rainy afternoon when my brother got called into work, leaving just the two of us at home. The storm outside rattled the windows, but inside, it was strangely quiet. She offered to make tea, and I followed her into the kitchen. Her hair was damp from the shower, loose around her shoulders, and she wore a soft robe that clung delicately to her frame. I leaned against the counter, trying to act casual, but my chest felt tight. She poured the tea slowly, then turned to look at me. Her gaze lingered, deeper than usual, almost searching. The silence stretched between us, heavy and unspoken. I felt it, the air thick with something we weren't supposed to name. I wanted to step forward, to close the distance, to say something reckless. And for a moment, I thought she wanted it too. Her lips parted, her breath caught, and her eyes dropped briefly to my mouth. But then, she turned away. She placed the tea on the counter, her hands trembling ever so slightly. "Here," she whispered, her voice softer than before. I took the cup, my fingers brushing hers, and the spark that shot through me was undeniable. We both knew it. Something had shifted between us that couldn't be ignored. That night, I lay awake, haunted by her eyes, by that almost moment that left me burning for more. Weeks passed, and I tried to bury the feelings. But fate seemed determined to push us together. One evening, after a family gathering, everyone had gone home except us. My brother had fallen asleep upstairs, leaving us alone in the living room. We sat in silence at first, the glow of the lamp casting shadows around us. She fidgeted with the edge of her sleeve, her eyes darting toward me and then away. Finally, she whispered, "I can't stop thinking about you." My breath caught. The words hung in the air, fragile but heavy with truth. For a second, I thought I had misheard. But then she looked at me, eyes wide and full of fear and desire. I should have stopped it. I should have reminded her she was my brother's wife. But instead, I leaned closer, my hand reaching for hers. She didn't pull away. Our faces inched closer until her lips brushed mine, soft and trembling. It was a kiss of confession, a kiss of everything we had been holding back. When we pulled apart, she whispered, "We can't," but even as she said it, her fingers tightened around mine, as though she didn't want to let go. I knew then that we had crossed the line. There was no turning back. After that confession, everything changed. We both tried to act normal, but the tension was unbearable. Every glance, every accidental touch carried the memory of that kiss. It felt like the air itself pulsed whenever we were in the same room. One night, I offered to help her with the dishes after dinner. My brother excused himself to take a late call in the study, leaving us alone. The clinking of plates faded into silence as she turned to me, her eyes dark with something unspoken. "I can't keep pretending," she whispered. Before I could answer, she stepped closer, her hands trembling as they found my face. This time, I didn't hesitate. Our lips collided with a hunger we had both been holding back for far too long. The kiss deepened, desperate and unstoppable, and in that moment, the world outside ceased to exist. Somehow, we ended up in her bedroom. The door clicked shut behind us, sealing our secret. Clothes fell away, hearts raced, and every touch was a confession of how much we had wanted each other. Her skin against mine, the way she whispered my name, it was intoxicating. I knew it was reckless, dangerous, a betrayal. But in her arms, none of that mattered. For the first time, we allowed ourselves to feel everything we had been hiding. And once we crossed that line, there was no going back. The next morning, reality hit. At breakfast, she sat beside my brother, smiling as if nothing had happened. I forced myself to laugh, to talk, to act like I hadn't held her all night. My brother was blissfully unaware, and guilt pressed heavily on my chest. But the guilt wasn't enough to stop us. In fact, it only seemed to fuel the urgency of our stolen moments. Late-night texts turned into secret meetings. Passing hugs lingered too long. In hidden corners, we found excuses to touch, to kiss, to remind ourselves of the fire we had ignited. We lived a double life. To everyone else, she was the perfect wife, and I was the loyal sibling. But in the shadows, we shared a secret language of desire, every glance and smile loaded with meaning. Sometimes, she'd pull away, insisting, "We can't keep doing this." But hours later, she'd find me again, her resolve crumbling as she melted into my arms. And I was just as guilty, because no matter how many times I told myself to stop, I couldn't. We were trapped in a dangerous cycle of guilt and passion. And even though I knew we were walking a tightrope that could destroy everything, I couldn't bring myself to let her go. It couldn't last forever. One night, after sneaking away to meet me, she broke down in tears. Her hand shook as she clung to me, her sobs muffled against my chest. "I can't keep betraying him," she cried. "He doesn't deserve this. But I can't stay away from you either. You've taken over my heart, and I don't know what to do." Her pain cut through me. I loved her, but I also loved my brother. The weight of our secret was crushing us both. For the first time, I wondered if love was enough, or if it was only destroying us. We spent the night holding each other, no kisses, no passion, just raw, painful truth. For once, the silence wasn't filled with desire but with the heavy question of what came next. By morning, the decision still hung over us. She couldn't keep living a lie, and I couldn't keep stealing moments that weren't mine. Something had to give, and deep down, we both knew the truth would come sooner or later. In the end, it was her who made the choice. One evening, she sat my brother down and confessed everything. The truth shattered him. The look on his face when he realized the betrayal was something I will never forget. For weeks, our family was torn apart. Anger, disappointment, and heartbreak filled every conversation. My brother couldn't even look at me, and I hated myself for causing him so much pain. But through the wreckage, she and I clung to each other. People judged us, some even cut ties, but she never wavered. One night, as we stood together on the balcony of her new apartment, she took my hand and whispered, "You're worth it. No matter the cost." Her words broke me and healed me all at once. The road ahead was uncertain, full of challenges and scars. But for the first time, we were free, no more lies, no more hiding. Just us, standing in the truth of our love. And even though the world might never understand, I knew in my heart that I could never stay away from her. She was mine, and I was hers, no matter how forbidden it had once been.